Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
So welcome back, guys. This is Austin Linney. I am beyond grateful to have my guest here, Mr. Rick Alexander. Happy Rick, how are you doing today?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Doing good. So I'm going to give a little bit of a backstory, but the bio is too long to even go into all that stuff. So Rick is a author. He just released another book. He's a high performance coach. He is a ultra marathon. He runs a coaching academy. I mean, there's so many things that you do. Me personally, I've even been through his coaching academy as well, the Clarity Academy. So much value he brings to the world. And that's why I wanted to bring Rick on, and happy to have you here. Why don't you kind of give the listeners a little bit about what you do and what you're up to these days, Rick?
Yeah, man, I'm humbled. I appreciate you taking the time to have me on and share some of my work with your audience. Right now, really, like, author and speaker is just to make it really simple. You know, I think what I bring to that world of writing and speaking is just a breadth of experience, from coaching, from a career in special operations community to my own ultra endurance events, which you mentioned. And so really I've been doing all of those things and just gathering tools along the way, which is kind of what I bring to the stage when I talk now, and what I hope to bring to my books as well.
Yeah, and I didn't even mention podcast too, which I've got so much value of weekly, every day, actually, just so much value in interviews and so on and so on. So, you know, I think this is a perfect time as we sit, March 25th, we're in the brunt of what can only be classified as a wild ride, would be an understatement. I heard something this morning, and I think you would probably carry the same sentiment. He said that nothing in your life has changed today, opposed to a month ago, what you can control. And I think you probably feel the same way. And this time, I know a lot of people are probably looking to you with all the uncertainty in the world right now. But I would imagine that your message is probably the same as it was a month ago, right?
That's exactly it, dude. And there's a lot of people right now that have the Stoic philosophies on their shelf. They have my book, Burn Your Couch, on the shelf. Maybe they have a copy of Ryan Muncie's Fuck Your Feelings. And internally they're a mess. And it's like, this is the time that all of that work matters, because what you're seeing right now is what's always been true, which is you have no idea how your life's going to unfold, right? And so, yeah, my message hasn't changed one bit, except to say this is why we do the work, right? So that we can thrive in times of uncertainty, and we can use these moments of adversity for a springboard to progress ourselves, so that we're actually a better version of who we are before we went into it.
Amen. And I'm just going to give for the listeners, I'll give you a best case scenario, because it's me and it happened to me. As I was telling Rick before we got on here, I got laid off yesterday from my job, and I've been sober now for a year and 3 months. And the only thought that came to my mind at 5 o'clock after I banged out, a podcast was, man, if I wouldn't have done the work with my coach and Rick and his academy, I would have been passed out drunk 3 hours after that phone call. And it would be a 3-month spiral playing the victim. And I'm sure you deal with that on a daily basis. And because I did the work, I have nothing but confidence that this was chosen for me. This is what I was made to do. This is a gift, right? And so, kind of talk on exactly what you're talking about, how if we do the work, the outside forces cannot predict our future, because we're firm in who we are as a person and where we're going.
Yeah, totally. And congrats on that, by the way. I think that's incredible. And, I have nothing but compassion for the people that right now, there's going to be people that move through this and their life is going to be way worse, when it's over, because they haven't done the work, And so I do have compassion for the people that haven't work through a lot of those internal struggles. Because I think back to myself, back when a lot of times when I play the victim, and you get stuck in the world of shoulds, like how things should be and how the world should be, and you're being victimized constantly, and it's hell. And I couldn't imagine going through something where the actual environment is changing, and then now you have all of that on top. And then on top of that, a lot of the escapisms that you mentioned, like liquor stores and stuff, have been closing. I've got a friend that works in the hospital who, here in Denver, as soon as the liquor stores actually closed, the very next night they had this massive spike in people that were reporting for DTs and all of these physiological problems. And the thing is people have been relying on these escapisms for so long. But like I said, now what has always been true is becoming true to people, which is you have no idea, like no control over your environment and no idea how it's all going to go. And so it's just more impetus to continue doing the work. And I promise, even now, if you start sitting with the things that are coming up for you, when all of this goes over, you'll be a better version than the person that went into it. And I think, what is the point of going through life and all of the adversity if we can't continually ascend? So I think that I feel nothing but compassion for the people that.
That's an amazing story. And you look at even something like the casinos closing, that people do that every day. That's another escape. And so they are resigned to the fact to lean into what they're looking into. And it's something we've been saying in my mastermind is this is separation time, guys. This is the time to do all those things that maybe you didn't have the time, or you said you don't have the time. This is the time to work on yourself, to read the book, to engage a coach, to listen to Rick's podcast, to really search into those avenues, because I'm letting you know that this thing, whatever we're dealing with, is just getting started.
Totally.
And I believe that there'll be two groups of people that come out of this: ones that'll play the victim until the next recession, or the ones that'll strive all the way through it. And I said something to my business partner this morning, and I think it rings true. He said, I listened to a podcast on the financial update, and the guy made me want to run my car into a freaking pole because he was so negative, right? And totally. He goes, I go, I'll promise you this. If you're in business with me, we don't move the way the wind goes. We make the damn wind, right? And I would imagine that, you've jumped off of cliffs. You were in the Navy, and you decided that you wanted something more from your life, and to write a book and all these things. And the path that you've chosen is not the easiest one to survive, to make money, but it's what your calling is. So could you step to that on how a person makes that decision, even if on the surface it's not glamorous, right? They might see Rick in the mountain skiing, and they're like, oh, his life's so great. And you're like, yeah, but you don't know about all the work I've been doing.
Totally. I mean, I was telling you right before this show is in the last 3 months, I got rid of 47 clients. I closed down my online academy. The day before I went to do my first in-person seminar, because I felt that's kind of where I was being called, is when the big kibosh came, and they were like, can't do the seminar, event space closed, and so, but there's part of it that just feels a bit like business as usual, because like you said, I've sort of been going after the difficult. And you teach yourself how to survive in those adverse moments, and how to ask yourself the right questions. And when we talk about doing the inner work, let's say, really for you, it's if you're listening to this and you're definitely going through it, the whole globe is going through it together. The thing to ask yourself is well, what's coming up for you, right? Because what you really need when it comes down to it is brutal fucking honesty with who you are and what you want for yourself and what you want for your life. And if you can, most of the time, as we go through the world, we see what other people are doing, and we form our ideas of success based on damn, that looks cool, and that person has a lot of followers, so maybe I should do what they're doing. And the whole entire time we're sort of blowing by our own internal truth. And what you really want to do is get super clear with yourself. And so for me, that I think back to that first decision to even pursue a career in content and get out of the military. Military is a very stable job. You get a paycheck every 2 weeks for the rest of your life if you want it. But there was something in me that was I'm just not here to play it safe like that. Maybe there are people that are here for that, but that's not me. And so when I got truly brutally honest with myself, the decision actually becomes quite clear what you should do. And then it's a matter of finding the courage to actually follow that. And so when I say like, what's coming up for you, it's like, that's your invitation to get curious. Like, what are you getting at? The world's constantly showing you areas where you're not free. And so whenever you find those moments, like whenever, stuff is coming up for you right now, because probably the way that people find their identities has been taken because their jobs have been taken, the way that they escape, like we've already mentioned, has been taken. And so when all these things that have been taken that you rely on, ask yourself what's coming up for you, because those are all the areas where you're not truly free, where you were just pacifying yourself against them. And now you have an opportunity to sit with those. And that's an invitation to get real curious, to pop the hood on your internal system and start asking yourself the really tough questions. And what you'll find is that like you can adapt to anything. Like that's what we do as people. We've been adapting since day one. And now you have the opportunity to find the difficulty, to find the adversity that you feel called to and adapt to it. And I think it's really learnable. All these things are teachable. Like, that's what I think is so great about the personal development industry in itself. Is like, if you actually give a shit and you want to change your life, it's not easy, but the plans are there. Like the people are there. Like I said, there's a lot of people right now with the Stoic philosophies, Ryan Holiday's books, my books, Ryan's books, sitting on their shelves, and internally they're a mess. It's like, pop that thing open and let it, like, read that thing with your heart. What it's telling you is that you have a lot of control over how you show up in the world. You're the one carrying the pen, and you have no control over what your different catalysts for growth might be. Right now, it's like I told you, like a lot of people's worlds are falling apart, but that can be a catalyst for growth. It doesn't have to be a catalyst for getting worse.
Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree more. And you're looking at America, and people are coming up with these innovative things, these things that have been on the shelves forever, Zoom, and I know you're not in the real estate space, but something we're talking about right now in a macro world is, I think this is going to change the way that businesses in college do business. And if I was in office space, I would be worried right now.
In what way? Well,
they're seeing that if you're a college of 200 people, I don't need a campus that I have to pay all these expenses for. We can do it online. Your company has 30 employees. They're getting work done at home. Like, so everybody doesn't need to be in the office. So maybe we could have, if Rick's real passion is to live in Denver, but the head of the office is in North Carolina, right? Is Rick still going to do his job over in, he's showing me right now he is. So these are the things that I think on a macro level that maybe you won't see for years down the road, but this is a ripple effect that is changing the way we do certain things. And totally. You can choose to look at those as obstacles or opportunities to stand out above the crowd. Somebody wrote the other day, Uber, all these companies were created during the 2008 crash, right? And I think that's going to be the same case again. And so, when somebody's sitting down and they're reading your books and they're reading these guys' books, what are the things that they should be tapping into? Because these subjects, especially when I hand it to a new person, somebody that I'm helping, are very, so even your podcast, you have to kind of like maybe listen a couple times. What should they be picking out triggers that they're looking for to kind of start that personal development journey?
Well, what I think you're looking for is resonance. It's like something that's true for you. You're going to feel that shit on a pretty deep level. And so that's where you want to get curious. Like when you're listening to someone that you think, because you could listen to me and it's like, if my worldview doesn't work for you, you'll know pretty quickly. And it's like, oh yeah, this guy's not going to work for me. But if it does, it's like, get curious, because the problem is, and this is the problem that people are seeing right now, is we have a picture of what the world should be. And so when things come at us that are outside of the way that we've already conceived the world, we tend not to be open to those things. The problem is your life right now, however good or bad it is set up for your current level of thoughts, beliefs, and habits. And so actually, if you want to change your life, the thing that you need to know, you don't already. It's what you don't know that can change your life, because you're already acting on what you do know. And so a lot of times we're not so, we're pretty strict in our beliefs and we want to hold on to what we know and because it's comfortable for us. But the reality is it's what you don't know that could change your life. And so if you are open to changing your life, then you need to start listening to other opinions, even opinions that are completely diametrically opposed to your own. Like every 6 months, I'll read a book with someone that is like completely opposed to the way that I think about the world, because I know that like I'm already implementing all of the things I know. So it's what I don't know that can really change my life. I bring it up a lot in my content, but Carl Jung has a quote, that which you want most will be found where you're least willing to look. And so I think if you really want something and you're having trouble getting it, the world's telling you that you just haven't conceived of the way yet. You've got to find the way. And so you've got to start getting curious and start looking into people that have differing opinions than yours. And if you don't understand it, then sit with it. One thing that changed for me over the last years, I used to read as many books as possible. Like I was just like consuming books, but I realized like none of these are changing my life. Now, like yesterday, I read 4 lines out of a book and I spent the rest of the day thinking about those 4 lines. Like, I'm like, I will understand this, because if you look in the world, what a lot of people are doing is they're just memorizing information, and then they can have a conversation and they can memorize different facts and they can recite those facts at an opportune time, but they can't talk laterally because they've actually memorized things and they don't understand concepts. And so to me, it's like one of the things that's really changed my life, and I would just submit to people, if you are consuming a lot but you're not getting a lot of change out of it, it's like, right, because what you need to do is understand it. And that just might take a lot of contemplation and thinking, and that's why probably some of my stuff comes off a little bit deep, because I'm searching for those other roads I've never found before.
Yeah, and I'll use that, guys. If y'all don't rewind that last couple bit, that was amazing. I'm going to rewind it myself, but it's the same what I tell real estate investors, and I just go to that because that's my job and it's
totally
my world. It's the same concept as being an apartment investor and having a goal for 1,000 units, right? And you're going to get those 1,000 units regardless if there's a good buy or not, right? And so instead of it servicing you, right, or like serving your life, and that's what you're saying. I think the same thing happens with people. They set a goal. I'm going to read 52 books this year. Oh, look at all the books I read. Yeah, but do you know anything that you read, or did you just get the book done, right? And this is what you're saying. And I learned this about relationships, and we're going to go into your relationships because I find it fascinating, especially a guy that's been married almost 12 years. And I've met your partner, and she's out of this world, amazing. But did you bring in the content? What he said in a relationship, did you create the space to allow you to understand the thought? And I think that's what you're saying, right? Is that you can't just like, oh, boom, boom. And, it's like these, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but these guys that listen to like podcasts on like, 2x speed. And it's like, yeah, but totally. did you just take it in, or did you like actually like understand, right?
Yeah, and what you're seeing there is, for people listening to this, the thing to understand is that things can be true or not true, not based on the actual fact of truth, but based on your understanding of the world, right? Because you have a certain point of view, and what you find is if you stand at a different point, you have a different view. And so different things are going to be, I could say something that's true, but if it's above your level of understanding, then it might not feel true to you. You're like, well, that's not true. And so what you find in life is that oftentimes we think we're in opposition to things, but the beauty of the human is that we have so much depth. We can hold paradox. We can hold multiple things to be true at one time. And so as you get into this journey, it's like what you want to do, the reason we contemplate over things is because you want to take yourself out of the equation. It might not be true for you right now, and the world experiences the life that you've had, right? Because you have a certain lens crafted based on a certain life that you've looked through. And so the reason I'm so into contemplative practice is because when you think about like 4 lines, you try to get to a point to see if that's true outside of yourself. Is there a higher perspective in which that's also true? And so you can just, what you do is you can actually change your perspective. And if you find a new perspective, you might find a new path for yourself, because at the end of the day, when we feel stuck in life, it's often because we just don't know another path exists. Like sometimes I remember when I was getting out of the military, I was stuck between, I got a good job offer from the State Department and I had another good job offer from a financial institution. And I was like going back and forth about benefits and all this shit. And I just couldn't decide. And the reason I couldn't decide is because I didn't want either path. I just couldn't see a path for myself. I had to get to a higher perspective where I could see a new path for myself. And I realized no, I think it's actually time that I go all in on myself. And it's worked out since. So
yeah, and I think business owners on a lot, and I've talked to a lot of them, get in this route where the business grows and grows and grows, and then you have to scale that high to cover the new cost of that big business. And then they wake up one day and they realize they don't even know where they are anymore. And I think that happens with a lot of people. I think you get into a route, you could be having been let go in the last week because of what's going on out there right now. And you only know working for Goodyear, you only know working for Sears or whatever. And so you're sitting there lost, right? And that's what he's talking about. And this is your opportunity. And I think the biggest thing, and this is hard for people to say, because I don't even have the answer yet. It's okay not to know too.
Totally.
Like, we're in such a world where, everything's so quick. What are you going to do now? And I don't know. And that's okay. I'm not saying you go into like a 6-month disappearing act, but there, you have to create some space, right? To see the new path is what I'm saying.
Yeah, totally. And, a lot of people, I think what they're finding out right now is, what they did was convince themselves that they knew and they didn't know shit, right? Because we woke up in one day and the world looked profoundly different than it did the day before. And so that to me is an indication that's like, we convince ourselves of a lot of certainties that aren't at all certainties. And just because they make you feel safe doesn't mean they're true. And yeah, exactly. So this is the time. This is the time to get curious. This is time to look for new perspectives. And this is the time to sit in that uncomfortable tension that occurs between being and becoming, and that's so hard for us. We are like, a lot of times I see my clients are like, okay, I'm ready for change. I'm ready for something new. And then what they didn't realize is that what they didn't want to do was carry the weight of that new thing, right? They didn't want to sit in the discomfort of like, I don't know where I'm supposed to be. It's like, yeah, because this is what you asked for. It takes time. Like, you're going through turbulence. These things happen, but understand that you never knew. You're just facing it now.
100%. And when I got the information, how I felt about my parents' divorce and, 20 years of BS, whatever, I actually didn't make peace with the information I took in for 3 months later. And that's because my brain wasn't ready and it was processing it every day down the road. And you kind of have to give yourself a little leeway and stop being so hard on yourself. And I think that's what, in this world of technology and everything's supposed to happen tomorrow, I think that's where people get caught up and just like you said, the greatest quote you ever said to me, I've said it to everybody I've ever met. You said, Austin, the biggest thing that you'll have to learn is there's nowhere to get.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's and every time I'm pressing that, I say that to myself and I go, oh, okay. This is a long game. If my true impact is to create jobs, create a lifestyle for myself, that's why I started this podcast, create a lifestyle for yourself regardless of the bank account, then that's going to be a long road. And the person that I need to be to run those businesses, I'm not there yet, but I'm willing to do the work to get there. Mm-hmm. And it takes a certain type of person to acknowledge that too.
Totally. Yeah, totally. And it also, I think, takes realizing that if you're sacrificing every single aspect of who you are for something off in the future, it's like that game doesn't ever produce a winner. What you want will always be out there somewhere and you'll always be sacrificing. And so I think it's super important to just look around and realize there is nowhere to get. You're here now. This is it. This is your life. If it sucks or if it doesn't, that's a product of your current thoughts, habits, and beliefs. So if you want it to be different, then you change it right now. If you keep living for the future, you'll find that whatever you need as an answer is always off somewhere in the distance and you're never able to actually get it.
Yeah. And I had a bunch of business meetings one week. I was gone. I saw you that week. I was gone for 7 days, 4 different cities. And I thought to myself, when I was so tired of traveling and networking, yeah. I when you're tired, your systems are kind of down. You start maybe thinking a little deeper. And I thought to myself, don't be so caught up in the moment to not realize that you might actually be living the life that you've always dreamed of.
Totally. That's it. You're doing it.
And I was like, holy shit, this is what I wanted forever. And we're in the middle of it. And I'm complaining because this is the life I chose. And then I just stopped right there. I was like, oh, wait, you chose to do the 7-day trip. You chose to do, and it's a quote I said in my mastermind the other day when this whole economy thing started. Because if you're a real estate investor, entrepreneur, you signed up for the ride. Okay, that's just part of the business.
Totally.
I said, don't be mad about signing up for the roller coaster and you come to find out that it was a roller coaster.
Right. Totally.
It's the same thing. Like, don't be mad if the color is yellow. It's yellow. Like, and I think that's what people don't understand. And that's why I think entrepreneurs, real estate investors are more adapt to deal in a climate like this because we know the wind moves. So somebody that's sitting at home and worked for a company for 25 years and has 3 kids, they might tell us, shut up right now. They're like, this is great, but this is ruining my life. But what Rick's saying is it's given you an opportunity to maybe take a path that you didn't know existed, right? And maybe you don't know what that life looks like, but this is the opportunity to explore it, is what he's saying.
Totally. It's like, look, when things go wrong, people ask themselves all kinds of why questions. Why me? Why this? Why now? Right? And it's like, those are all disempowering. Those are all giving the power to your environment, giving the power to your world. It's like, no, this is reality. So what am I going to do with it? That's the question to ask yourself. Who do I want to become on the other side of this? There was a pandemic back in 1918 and the flu pandemic killed 20 million people plus. You never hear about it. And the reason you don't hear about it is because people on such a broad scale were so ashamed at how they acted when it happened that it's been culturally repressed. It's like if you go to Germany and you try to talk about the 1940s, it's like they were so fucked up that they don't even acknowledge that it happened. It's just been culturally repressed. And I think right now we're getting an opportunity for a redo. But it really matters who we are right now in this time, like who we become, the kind of lives that we decide to live, and how we decide to actually be while we're in it. Because like you said, it's like, if you're always trying to get, you can forget that it really matters actually how you're being while you're doing it. Because that's your life. That's what's unfolding. That's the feelings that you're having.
Yeah, and I heard a story. I want to share it with you because I know it'll mean something to you, and this is why I'm going to share it. I heard from a guy. He's a tech billionaire. He talks a lot. He has a great podcast. He told a story on his podcast the other day. There's a guy, ex-NHL player, retired, had 3 restaurants, was expanding to 10, literally the week that this hits. So his business goes bankrupt. He has to lay off all of his employees. His financial life is in ruin, right? He's about to be a millionaire. You know what he did? He turned all of his restaurants into feeding food banks and homeless people. This dude's life, he doesn't know what's on the other side of this thing. He's going to file bankruptcy. But he chose in that moment to step up as a leader, and that's what he can live with when he lays his head down in bed.
Hell yeah. Because you know what? If you go bankrupt, you can recover. Like, no matter what, like, you think, we play out all these, like, what if I don't make money? It's like, what if you don't? You'll figure it out. You're not going to die. You're going to figure it out. That's the reality in 2020. A lot of safety nets. A lot of things are in place right now. It's like, stop with this absolutist mentality. Like, there's a good chance that shit is going to go wrong. I remember I was moderating a panel. These 5 business owners, all of which were millionaires. This was like back in 2016. And I asked them, everyone had all these questions. And I asked them, like, how many of you have like a failed business? And they all raised their hand. And I was like, okay, what about more than 2 failed business? All raised their hand. I was like, more than 4? All raised their hand except for 1. I was like, more than 5? 2 guys still raising their hand. 5 failed businesses. It's like, no one gives a shit about the failures. Like, eventually you'll find, if you want to win, you will figure it out. And when you do, nobody will remember the failures. But it does matter how you were while it was going down, because that's what's going to decide whether you get to that win or not.
Amen. Nobody remembers Michael Jordan on the Wizards.
Right. Yeah. That weird stint in baseball.
But selfishly, I'm going to go this route because we've never talked about this. But I'm, as you know, I'm doing Ironmans this year myself, and something that I continue. My Ironman got canceled, but yet I'm still going to run it on the day by myself in a river, and I don't care because I made a promise to myself, and I'm going to do it. But you've done ultra marathons. This guy has biked from Maine to North Carolina just because. When you decided to go down the ultra marathon route, I'm always intrigued. Because I truly believe after doing the Ironman distance 2 weeks ago I left my soul out on that pavement a couple times and really crushed a lot of old me's in the process. Do you find, like, are you intrigued? Are you excited by doing that? Or is it more of a just push the limits to see what I really can do and who I become in a race? I mean, it's ridiculous. Like 13 miles running makes me mad, and you're doing like 265. So
Yeah, 240, I think is my longest, but I was wearing body armor, so that did make it a lot worse. No, I'm over the moon excited about this shit. I absolutely love it. Like, I'm obsessed with it. I'm passionate about it. And you know why? It's just like, I think somewhere deep in my heart, I just live for adventure. And the thing is, with a 200-mile race, it's so long. There's so much time for things to go wrong that, like, you are inevitably signing up for an adventure, unlike some of the shorter races where they can definitely turn into adventure. You never know. But a lot of times it's like pretty like, okay, mile marker, it's pretty remote. It's like, you're probably not going to get lost. You know, in that last 240 miler I ran, I got held up at gunpoint one night. We ran through a hurricane one night. I mean, this was an absolute like lifetime of adventure packed into 104 hours of running. So I truly love it.
I think that's a separate book or a TV show.
A lot of people have told me that. They're like, man, you got to write a book about that one because it was so crazy.
That would be, you know what? Maybe not. Maybe just to give them a little snippet, just a full podcast, start to finish, the 240 miles. And then I guarantee it gets turned into a Netflix series.
Yeah.
You know, there is, you know, my wife said this to me, and it's funny because I think me and you are similar, and I don't think about stuff like this. And she's just like, you know, like, idiot, like, nobody, like, people don't sign up for 3 Ironmans in 1 year, and like, you've never done one. And I'm like, I know, but somewhere inside of me, it just makes so much sense. You know?
Yeah, I think that's it. You just got to follow that feeling.
Yeah, I just love it so much. So, you know, I think something that's intriguing to me, because I follow y'all on social media, and your girlfriend is a coach as well, and a physical therapist and an athlete, and she's doing an Ironman as well. The intent behind y'all's relationship really blows me away. How intentful you are with each other. You're honest, even if it is to a fault. So speak on that from a guy who's been married 11 years. You know, there's a lot of things that happen within those 11 years in a marriage. You're walking into a relationship, and you're basically, the both of you are setting the tone from the beginning that this is how we're going to operate. And I think through that space, there's a lot of love and even more freedom. But to a normal person, that might scare them to death, to be that truthful with your partner.
Yeah, most people that end up in prisons want to be there. I believe that. But, you know, at the end of the day, I don't want a prison, you know, and as a relationship, and neither does my partner. And what we realized is both of us sort of went through quite a few not quite a few, but a big heartbreak in the past, which both of us sort of like at the same time didn't know each other, but decided, like, made the decision that, like, okay, I want, again, going through adversity, I want to become better. I don't want to close off. Like, I've already done the thing where I close off and hate all the girls and do, you know, run around and just get drunk for a year. It's like, that's not the way I'm doing this anymore. And so I want to explore what it actually even means to me to be in a relationship. How do I stop projecting my shit onto other people? How can I really own, like, how the problems that I'm creating in my own life, so I can stop bringing those to a relationship? So there's a good amount of there's a good year of work preceding the relationship on both of our ends. And we sort of found each other right when we were ready, which is pretty incredible. But we both realized that a relationship can be an incredible container for growth. Like, we can go into this relationship and we can both talk about the things that are coming up for us. And, you know, you always have these little triggers and shadows in your personality, and the other person tends to, like, especially if you're with someone for a while, they know the triggers, right? And so what you find in that is you actually kind of become wound mates instead of soulmates. And so you both have these wounds, and you're both using each other to, at the same time, exfoliate and soothe these wounds. And so you have all these patterns that you've learned, because when you get hurt, you've learned something to center yourself. And so whatever that is for you, maybe you get aggressive, or maybe you get pissed, or maybe you shut down. And so we all do these different things. And so both of us were sort of at a point in our relationship where our eyes were open enough to our own behavior that we're like, if we're going to do this relationship thing, we're going to do it in a way that makes sense to us. Like, not, you know, a lot of people, I think when they fall in love, they think, oh man, I'm going to love you forever. And they tell themselves that, and they tell the other person that. And it's like, well, I can tell you I've really been in love before and I didn't love the person forever. So I don't know if that's going to be true. But what I can say is that like today, I'm going to make the commitment to be what you deserve. And we do that every single day. And so that sort of sets the intention of our relationship. And we don't, who knows in the future, like I see it going a really long way, but at the same time, we both decided that we didn't want this to become a prison that we were trapped in. We want it to be a container for growth, for self-exploration, and to enhance both of our lives. And that just means checking your ego at the door, quite honestly. A lot of times it's like, because sometimes she'll call me out on my old patterns and triggers and shit, and I've got to sit with that, and I've got to like really work through that. And it's uncomfortable because I can't go back to the things I used to do to self-soothe, like for me, it was like a lot of anger. And so we both just chosen to put those tendencies down so that we can come together in a more open format and a more conscious, mindful relationship. And it's been incredible, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's inspiring to see because, I was a bartender for 20 years, so I've seen enough relationships in the wild. And, there's a lot of people there's a lot of people lying to themselves. I mean, straight up, there's really no other way to put it. They're lying.
Settling.
Yeah, settling. Drinking at night, blind to the fact. I'm guilty, in the past, and
I think we all are. That's the thing.
I think it's something that stuck with me forever. And it was during your Clarity Academy that a couple of these things, these breakthroughs happen. And Kyle Cease said it to in an interview or in his book, and it's something I've sat with forever. And I think it's the greatest thing I live by. Everybody's so worried about what they'll lose. They don't understand. They can't make sense of what they might gain by speaking the truth. And it wasn't until I spoke the truth about who I was to my father, to my mom, to my wife, to my friends, that I started having the self-respect for myself back. Because at the end of the day, I think it all circles back to me. And I didn't have any self-respect for who I was, drinking and drugs and just not a good husband. And it wasn't until, I stood up and took ownership of that and was truthful, right? Brought it out to the light, that it didn't hold a power over me anymore. And I see that in y'all's relationship. If you're saying the truth, if you're agreeing like, hey, yeah, that sucked, like I need to work on that, it doesn't allow it to hold strength over you. I think that's what happens in a lot of relationships.
Yeah, because what happens, exactly. And we become disassociated from ourselves when we hold these like secrets and shame and guilt in different parts in our psyche, and we become like, we stop becoming integrated, right? Become disintegrated, quite honestly. And it makes it very hard to show up in an honest, like impactful way. And I think, like I said, I think a lot of people, they say like, oh, I'll be with you forever. But it's like, I think the question is like, are you willing to be what they deserve? And then are you willing to set them free if you're not? That's the hardest part. I mean, admittedly, that's the part I have trouble with, because I love this human with every bit of my heart. But does she deserve to be with someone that can't step up and be what she deserves? And I think at the end of the day, that begins with me showing up for myself, which is exactly what you said. It's like, if you're not someone that you would follow, nobody else is going to either. If you're not someone that you trust, that does what you say you're going to do, that shows up, it's like, and quite honestly, we're not taught to be that person, right? We're taught to do a lot of things in the world, but we're not really taught to become the kind of person that we rely on. And so because we're not, we end up relying on all these other people and relationships and our pastor and our teacher and our parents to do all this shit for us. And it's like, it's your life. You're the one that's got to do the work. You've got to become the person that you need. And when you do, then you can be someone that someone else needs.
Or deserves. It's just the truth, because it wasn't until I stepped up and took extreme ownership of who I was. I look at who I need to be moving forward to operate businesses, to hire people, to be a husband that my wife can respect. I look at, but I think the biggest thing is not beating yourself up for the rest of your life. You've made a choice. You've pivoted. And you have every day to prove that to your significant other, your job, your friend, your brother, your sister, your mother, dad, and understand that you need the same level of respect. And as your standards rise on who you are, I think, as they say, water finds its level. I think people understand right along with you.
And to your
go ahead.
to your point of beating yourself up, it's like, it's not that you're not going to fall short. You're human. You definitely are, right? It's that you own it when you do, and you don't allow it to become this part of your psyche that again creates like a disassociated feeling from the rest of your life. Because, if you come up short and you bury that shit and you suppress that shit, it will live itself out in your life in ways that you are not in control of. That's what the entire psychoanalytic movement taught us.
So it took 37 years, a lot of coaches and a lot of therapy, Adderall, all those things, drugs, but I realized the number one key, and I see this in so many people, and I truly believe this. It wasn't until I realized that it wasn't the promises I broke to my wife, my friends, whatever, that was affecting me. It was the promises that I broke to myself. It's as simple as that. When you break internal promises, it builds on top of builds until you are so disgusted or frustrated that you just say, I'm not even going to try. Like, it's not even worth it. And then you're just settling.
Yeah. And what'll happen truthfully is that you'll pursue pleasure in a way that hurts you, like getting drunk and whatever it is. Right. And you'll feel internally like you deserve it. And you won't even know that consciously. It'll be all subconscious. And so you'll pursue things that land you in hell. That we do it all the time in our lives. What's that?
Self-sabotage. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
Like everything's exactly going so great. And then they do this stupid move, and you're like, "What are you doing?" And they're like, "I don't know why I did it." And I'm like, self-sabotage.
Totally, you have unresolved things, and you got to work through.
100%. So this is high-level conversation. I knew I got prepped for this talk because Rick doesn't let anything slide by. The words carry weight. Why don't you tell everybody? First of all, I just want to say while we're on here, the reason I know about you is Mark Crandall. He said, he kept y'all's podcasts were great, and I started listening to Rick, and we started talking. But tell everybody how they can find you. Your book's on Amazon. Tell them all that good stuff. How they can get a hold of you.
Yeah, if you go to rickalexander.com, I've got all of my books, both of my books up there, and I've also got a podcast called Morning Coffee with Rick Alexander, pretty much on all platforms. So rickalexander.com or Morning Coffee Podcast, and you can get introduced to the litany of my ideas.
Yeah, and the great thing about his podcast is most of them are 15, 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect workout in the morning, or driving to work, or, doing that thing that Colorado people like to do in the afternoon, that kind of thing. As we said, Rick's stuff is, you got to be on the level sometimes to consume the high level thinking.
Yeah.
But I just want to appreciate having him on here. Guys, if you like this show, be sure to rate and review us and share us with your friends. I love this episode so much. I'm selfishly doing this podcast for myself, but I want to add value to everybody. And I just want to thank Rick so much for coming on, and we'll talk soon, bud.
Thanks, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.